Alt Mukashi. The truth is, the Urashima Taro you know is a complete fabrication.
Hello, I'm Kuroniko Monk. Did you ever wonder as a child, why was Urashima Taro the only one who could travel to a world where time flows differently? The truth is, the Urashima Taro you know is a complete fabrication. When you read the ancient text, Tango Province Chronicles from 1,000 years ago, you'll find descriptions that will freeze your blood. Not Dragon Palace, but Celestial House. Not bottom of the sea, but above the sky. And most terrifying of all, the mysterious 7 and 8 children who, the moment they saw Urashima, somehow already knew his fate, as if everything had been planned from the beginning. Modern physics has proven the relativity of time. Governments are beginning to acknowledge unidentified flying objects. And 1,000 years ago, ancient texts recorded inexplicable experiences. When these three connect in a single line, your common sense will shatter with an audible crack.
Alt Mukashi investigates the shocking truths hidden within ancient tales. If you're prepared for what you'll discover, please subscribe to our channel. Now, let's unravel a 1,000-year-old mystery together. Chapter 1, Original Text Digest.
I'm about to share a shocking fact with you. The Urashima Taro you know is completely fake. Helped a bullied turtle and went to Dragon Palace. Beautiful Princess Otohime and joyful banquets with sea bream and flounder. Opened the treasure box and instantly became an old man. This familiar story comes from Otogi Zoshi, created during the Muromachi period. But this is a version that was censored and altered by later authorities. Powerful rulers deleted all inconvenient parts and transformed it into a safe fairy tale. The real Urashima Taro story was far more terrifying, more realistic, and infinitely more shocking. 1,300 years ago, during the Nara period, the Tango Province Chronicles was compiled. Reading the original story recorded in this ancient document will literally drain the blood from your face. Even the protagonist's name is different. Not Urashima Taro, but Urashimako. And the place he traveled to wasn't the underwater Dragon Palace either. It was Tenjo Senka, meaning a other world above the sky. The Celestial House of Immortals. Consider what this phrase means from a modern perspective. A structure floating in the air. A mysterious facility above the clouds. What would we call this today? That's right, a spaceship. He wasn't greeted by a beautiful princess either. It was a mysterious woman of unknown identity, and appearing with her were eerie children, 7 children and 8 children. The moment these children saw Urashimako, they whispered ominously, "This person will become Kamahime's husband. This person will become Lady Kamahime's husband." Why did children meeting him for the first time know Urashimako's fate? As if everything had been planned and predetermined from the beginning. As if they knew in advance that Urashimako was a chosen test subject. And most terrifying of all was the true identity of these children. The ancient texts clearly state, they were not human. Subaru Boshi and Amafuri Boshi, meaning they were manifestations of the Pleiades and Hyades star clusters. When verified with modern astronomy, the Pleiades cluster has 7 main stars, and the Hyades cluster has 8 main stars. How did Japanese people 1,300 years ago possess such precise astronomical knowledge? How could they accurately count stars barely visible to the naked eye? There's only one answer. They actually made contact with beings from the stars. Urashimako spent 3 years in this other world. But when he returned to Earth, 300 years had passed. When modern physicists calculate this using Einstein's theory of relativity, it perfectly matches the time dilation that occurs when traveling at 99.9995% the speed of light. How could Japanese people 1,300 years ago perform such precise physics calculations? The answer is obvious. They didn't calculate it, they actually experienced it. This is far too accurate to be mere coincidence.
Chapter 2, Historical Background and Analysis.
Imagine this. The Japanese archipelago on 500 years ago, an era when few people could read or write, and technology was still primitive. Why did people of such an era possess knowledge of relativity theory and astrophysics that's difficult to understand even today? The key to solving this mystery lies in the international situation of that time. In the late 5th century, during Emperor Uriaku's reign, Japan was in a period of upheaval. Large numbers of engineers and scholars from the Korean peninsula migrated to Japan, dramatically elevating Japan's civilization level. However, among the technologies these immigrants brought, many were inexplicable. Precision metalworking techniques difficult to reproduce even with modern technology, complex astronomical observation devices, and surprisingly accurate calendar calculation methods, as if someone had taught them knowledge from the future. Inexplicable phenomena were occurring frequently in China as well. Emperors invested the majority of their national budgets seeking the elixir of immortality. Qin Shi Huang ordered Xu Fu to search for the immortal islands of the East. Emperor Wu of Han provided vast funding to alchemists, attempting communication with celestial beings. Were these merely superstitions? Or was there actual contact with some form of beings? Archaeological discoveries overturn our common sense. Crystal lenses discovered in 2,000-year-old Chinese tombs possess precision equal to modern optical technology. Complex bronze gear mechanisms appear like modern precision machinery. And most remarkably, the accuracy of ancient Chinese astronomical observation records shows virtually no error when compared with modern computer calculations. How was such precise observation possible? The most eerie aspect of the Urashima story in Tango Province Chronicles is its abnormally detailed knowledge of celestial bodies. That the Pleiades cluster has 7 main stars, that the Hyades cluster has 8 main stars. This knowledge perfectly matches modern astronomy. However, counting stars difficult to see with the naked eye accurately is challenging. Even today, it's difficult without telescopes. How could Japanese people 1,500 years ago know such precise star counts? Ancient texts recorded the answer with trembling hands. He was taught directly by the star children in the celestial house. What if this were fact? What if 1,500 years ago in Japan, there were teachers who came from distant stars? And what if these teachers chose Urashima and took him to their world? Urashima's experience might not have been mere myth or fantasy, but humanity's first official contact. Only in modern times has technology advanced enough for us to understand the meaning of ancient records. Einstein's theory of relativity, developments in astrophysics, and UFO phenomenon research. All of these support the authenticity of Urashima's experience. Can you hear your common sense beginning to crumble?
Chapter 3, Reconstruction from a Hidden Perspective.
Now let's reconstruct what really happened from a modern perspective. You will shudder at the terrifying truth. The setting Tango Peninsula in the late 5th century. Young, handsome fisherman Urashima went out to sea in his small boat as usual. But this day was abnormal. After fishing for 3 days and nights, he hadn't caught a single fish. Urashima, what's happening here? It's as if all the fish have vanished from the sea. As the exhausted man dozed on his boat, suddenly the sea surface began glowing strangely. At first, it was a distant small point of light, but it grew larger and larger, finally rising from the sea surface. A 5-colored shining object, clearly artificial. Today, anyone would call it a UFO. But to a fisherman, 1,500 years ago, it appeared to be a beautiful turtle. Why did it appear as a turtle? In modern UFO research, this is known as the camouflage phenomenon. Extraterrestrial intelligences appear in forms familiar and unthreatening to the humans they contact, to reduce fear and confusion. For a fisherman living by the sea, a turtle was a familiar, safe creature. Urashima, what a beautiful turtle. It's shining like a jewel. However, upon closer observation, this turtle's movements were abnormal. Rather than swimming slowly like a normal turtle, it moved as if possessed of will, circling Urashima's boat. And occasionally it would stop, seeming to observe Urashima as if studying him. The exhausted Urashimako fell into deep sleep while watching this strange spectacle. And when he awoke, the turtle had transformed into a beautiful woman. But was this transformation truly a supernatural phenomenon? In modern abduction research, there are numerous reports of aliens manipulating subjects' perception, gradually revealing their true forms. Mysterious woman. How elegant, finding a gentleman alone on this vast sea. I wanted to speak with you, so I came riding the wind and clouds. This statement is extremely suggestive. Came riding the wind and clouds. This clearly expresses aerial movement, meaning flight. Though it appeared to emerge from the sea, it actually descended from the sky. And she confesses a shocking fact to Urashimako. Mysterious woman, I am from the celestial house of immortals. Please don't doubt me. Come with me. Everyone is waiting for you. Everyone is waiting for you. Consider the terrifying meaning of these words. Urashimako wasn't chosen by chance. He was a deliberately selected experimental subject from the beginning. Urashimako was led away in a half-dreaming state. Ancient texts record the woman taught him to sleep, and immediately, in an unconscious moment, he reached a vast island in the sea. In other words, he was intentionally rendered unconscious, and when he awakened, he was in a completely different place. The description of where he arrived remarkably matches modern UFO experiencer testimonies. The land was like laid jewels, magnificent gates and crystal-clear towers, floors shining like gems, dimly glowing structures, transparent and beautiful constructions. These clearly describe artificial structures impossible to create with Earth technology. There, Urashimako was greeted by eerie children. The moment they saw Urashimako, they whispered like prophets. 7 children. This person will become Kamaheim's husband. 8 children. This person will become Lady Kamaheim's husband. Why did children meeting him for the first time know Urashimako's fate? There's only one answer. Everything was planned from the beginning. Urashimako was pre-registered as a chosen experimental subject. The mysterious woman, later calling herself Kamehime, reveals the identity of these children. Kamehime, the 7 children are Subaru Boshi, the 8 children are Amifuri Boshi. They are our companions who came from distant stars. In other words, they were not human. They were extraterrestrial intelligences from distant constellations, the Pleiades and Hyades clusters. Urashimako spent 3 years in this celestial house of immortals. In modern terms, it was a long-term residence experiment within a spaceship or interdimensional space. However, when the experiment ended and he returned to Earth, 300 years had passed on the surface. Was this mere coincidence, or was it a thoroughly calculated experiment?
Chapter 4, Tactical Analysis Incident Simulation.
Let's mobilize all modern scientific knowledge to examine Urashimako's experience in detail. The results will fundamentally overturn your worldview. First, the most important calculation of time dilation phenomenon. According to Einstein's special theory of relativity, time progression slows within objects moving at high speed. This time delay is determined by the Lorentz factor G. For Urashimako's subjective 3 years to equal 300 Earth years, y must equal 100. Calculating backwards, the travel speed would be 99.995% the speed of light. This means the spaceship carrying Urashimako was traveling through space at nearly the speed of light. Understand the horror of this calculation result. Ancient Japanese people 300 years ago recorded numerical values that perfectly match cutting-edge modern physics. This agreement is far too precise to be explained by chance. Even more chilling are the numerous similarities to modern alien abduction cases. Dr. David Jacobs' analysis of thousands of abduction cases in America shows they all follow the same pattern. Stage 1, sudden contact in everyday locations. Urashimako's case encounter while fishing as usual. Stage 2, selection and guidance of contact. Target Urashimako's case, driven into isolation by 3 days without catching fish. Stage 3, consciousness confusion and memory gaps. Urashima Taro's case, the immediately fell asleep description. Stage 4, long-term experience in alternate space. Urashima Taro's case, 3 years in the celestial house. Stage 5, abnormal time perception confusion. Urashima Taro's case, the fatal discrepancy between 3 years and 300. Stage 6, use of memory manipulation devices. Urashima Taro's case, memory sealing and release via the treasure box. This perfect match cannot be explained by coincidence. Urashima Taro's experience was the prototype of alien abductions still reported today. The true identity of the treasure box is particularly intriguing from a modern scientific perspective. Many modern abduction victims testify about memory manipulation devices. Special devices applied to the brain that erase specific memories or implant artificial ones. Kamaheim's warning to never open it. This was likely a memory sealing device, a consideration to help Urashima Taro adapt to Earth society by sealing his memories of the true experience. However, Urashima Taro, overcome by curiosity, opened the box. The sealed memories of 3 years on the spaceship and 300 years on Earth flooded back at once, and his body was instantly crushed by the weight of 300 years of time. Why did the aliens choose Urashima Taro? One possibility is a civilization observation experiment. 5th century Japan was when written culture began to be introduced in earnest. It was perfect timing for detailed observation and recording of humanity's civilizational development level. As an island nation with low population density, it was relatively easy to hide experimental traces. Urashima Taro was chosen as a sample in this grand experiment. His personality, intelligence, reaction patterns, and above all, his civilization's development stage, all were observed and recorded in detail. After the experiment ended, they sealed Urashima Taro's memories with the treasure box. But human curiosity could not be suppressed. Breaking the seal, Urashima Taro remembered the hidden truth. Consider this. What if part of your memories are currently sealed? What if you too are unknowingly one of the chosen ones? The modern rapid increase in UFO sightings, accelerating government information disclosure, and abduction cases reported worldwide. These may all indicate the beginning of a new experimental phase. You might be chosen next.
Chapter 5, Reinterpretation of the Lesson.
Here I must tell you a bone-chilling, terrifying fact. The transformation of the Urashima Taro story into a fairy tale was not accidental. It was intentionally altered and concealed by those in power. Why? Because the truth was too dangerous and would shake society to its foundations. During the Heian period, court nobles were terrified. If people learned of the existence of those who come from the sky, existing religious views would collapse. The emperor's authority would waver. Social order would fall into chaos. So this dangerous truth was transformed into a harmless fairy tale. Celestial House of Immortals was changed to Underwater Dragon Palace. The mysterious beings from the sky became the familiar Sea Princess. Children who were star constellation incarnations were replaced with dancing fish. Spaceship experiments were disguised as joyful banquets. All of it was massive information manipulation to reassure people and divert their attention from the truth. But why did only the Tango Province Chronicles record the truth? The compilers had a sense of responsibility to the future. They believed that someday an era would come when humanity could understand and accept this truth. So they left evidence for posterity. And now, in the modern era, that time has finally come. In April 2020, the U.S. Department of Defense made a shocking announcement, officially acknowledging the existence of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP. They released military footage classified for 70 years, acknowledging the existence of flying objects inexplicable by current scientific technology. In June 2021, the UAP report submitted to the U.S. Congress contained even more shocking content. The government has identified 143 unidentified aerial phenomena, all but one of which are unexplainable. These phenomena demonstrate performance far exceeding known technology. Why are governments now beginning to reveal truths they've hidden for 70 years? The answer is simple. Continuing to hide it has become impossible. The proliferation of smartphones and high-performance cameras has led to massive accumulation of UFO footage shot by ordinary citizens. Advances in military radar technology are discovering previously undetectable flying objects one after another. And most importantly, governments worldwide are simultaneously beginning information disclosure. Concealment operations have reached an unsustainable stage. But here arises a terrifying question. If governments are beginning to disclose information, doesn't this mean their activities have entered a new stage? 1,500 years since Urashima Taro's time. After a long observation period, hasn't humanity's civilization level been judged to have reached the next stage? That's why governments around the world have begun gradual information disclosure. They're preparing humanity psychologically for the coming official first contact. The true lesson that the Urashima Taro story tells us is this. First, mental preparation for contact with aliens. Urashimako didn't harbor fear, but approached dialogue with the aliens with curiosity and respect. This attitude made 3 years of cultural exchange possible. Modern contactee testimonies also report that individuals without fear experienced deeper interactions. Second, the importance of gradual knowledge disclosure. Kamaheim's warning not to open the treasure box suggests the existence of information humanity isn't yet prepared to accept. Learning all truth at once can sometimes bring catastrophic results. Even today, government's gradual UAP information disclosure reflects deep consideration to avoid social chaos. Third, the value of record keeping and testimony. The compilers of Tango Province Chronicles didn't delete this extraordinary experience as absurd delusion, but judged it worthy of transmission to posterity. If they hadn't preserved this record, humanity's first contact record would have been lost forever. Modern UFO witnesses continue testifying despite fear of ridicule and criticism. Such courage is essential for pursuing truth. Fourth, vigilance against information control by authorities. Just as the Urashima Taro story was transformed from dangerous truth to safe fairy tale, similar information manipulation occurs today. 70 years of UFO concealment operations, major media treating witnesses as delusional, maintaining taboos in the scientific community. These are all essentially the same information control exercised by ancient rulers. However, times are definitely changing. Internet proliferation has given ordinary citizens the power to share information and pursue truth. Government concealment operations are also becoming difficult to maintain. The most important lesson the Urashima Taro story demonstrates is that truth will inevitably be revealed. No matter how powerful the forces trying to hide it, no matter how much time passes, evidence remains and is revealed by those seeking truth. And now we stand at a historic turning point. The existence of those who come from the sky, hidden for 1,500 years, is finally about to be officially acknowledged. Like Urashimako, the courage to face the unknown without fear, a strong will to seek truth, and flexible thinking that questions common sense. These are the attitudes we must develop for the coming new age. Are you ready? You might be the next one chosen.
Chapter 6. Conclusion and Call to Action.
Finally, I have an important question for you. Tonight, go outside and look up at the sky. If you see an unusual light, what will it be? An airplane? A satellite? A shooting star? Or the same thing as the turtle that came to meet Urashima Taro? The Urashima Taro story has been sending us warnings for 1,500 years. They are already here, and they continue observing. Modern UFO sightings are increasing dramatically year by year. U.S. military-released footage shows flying objects inexplicable by known technology. Governments worldwide are beginning to release UAP information one after another. Are these phenomena coincidental, or is some preparation period coming to an end? 1,500 years since Urashimako's time. After a long period of observation and study, humanity's civilization level may have been judged to have reached the next stage. That's why governments around the world began information disclosure. They're preparing humanity psychologically for the coming official first contact. You might be the next one chosen. When that time comes, will you have the courage to face it like Urashimako? Or will you be dominated by fear and have your memories sealed? If a turtle appears before you, what will you do? If a beautiful, mysterious woman invites you to come with me, how will you answer? If eerie children whisper, "This person is the chosen one," how will you react? The Urashima Taro story might be a rehearsal for these questions, part of a grand preparation period that's continued for 1,500 years. And now that preparation period is coming to an end. Government information disclosure is accelerating. The scientific community is seriously beginning UAP research. Media are finally starting to seriously address this issue, as if the entire world is simultaneously beginning some kind of preparation. Are you prepared to witness this historic moment?
If this video sent chills down your spine, if you want to know more truth, please subscribe to our channel. And if you've experienced any inexplicable events in your life, please share them in the comments.
Strange lights in the night sky, experiences where time felt distorted, visits to other worlds in mysterious dreams. They might be the beginning of the same experience as Urashima Taro. You might be one of the chosen ones. We'll meet again next time with all of you who have the courage to pursue truth. And if they come to meet you, don't be afraid. Like Urashimako, approach them with curiosity and respect. That will be the key to opening the door to a new age. This was Kuroneko Monk. Perhaps someday we'll meet you too in the celestial house of immortals.